When you've got 4 kids, mate, and you've got a nice, loving, tight family, who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
As long as I do everything humanly possible to know that I've done the right thing in every situation, I'm free, mate. I'm free.
Totally. Matty Lancashire, welcome to the Moxham Mindset.
Mate, absolute pleasure. I've been waiting for the call up since you've been doing. I listened to them all, mate, and I've been waiting for the call, and finally it's just made my year.
Oh, mate, that's so nice of you. Mate, that's so nice of you. Thank you very much for your time. Matt, I honestly, I've interviewed some busy people. I think you'd be sort of right up there. So appreciated for your time, mate. And thank you, man. Thank you. So straight into it, I'm going to start with 2 big congratulations. One personal, one work. Number 4, congratulations. Girl or boy?
It's going to be a little girl.
Little girl. So boys, girls, 3 girls and a boy?
No, so I've pretty lucky. Boy, girl, boy, girl.
Oh.
So it's look, my daughter, our middle girl, she needed a girl. To be honest, my boys are like real boys. So she's like a little princess, and she needs a little girl.
Oh.
So that's what we've got. We're very grateful. I've always wanted 4 or 5 children. I've always said that. I've got and look, life's busy, but family is really important to me. And I don't come. I've got 2 brothers, a brother and a sister.
Yep.
But I always just thought, if you've got a bigger family, 4 or 5 of you, and you keep it really tight, you don't need that many friends. So it's
so true, man.
Really exciting, mate. Really exciting for us.
So special, and I feel like I actually know your kids. It's a great thing about social media, isn't it? It's sort of, we watch all of our families grow up, don't we? It's a beautiful thing.
I love watching it too. It's great.
It's beautiful, mate. And congratulations on a professional note. Big awards at the Ray White Awards this year. So number 1 office in Queensland, number 3 internationally, and also number 1 agent Queensland and number 1 administrative office in Queensland.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thanks, mate. No, it's awesome. It's look, for us, the number 1 thing is that's just good for bragging rights, but it's what we're most happy about is how we are. Like, we're just happy. And we had a little bit of a chat offline before, and I feel the same as you, mate. I just feel very grateful for everything at the moment. I feel very grateful for what we're doing. We've got an amazing team. We've got 150 staff across our group now, and it's just been so much fun. Like, we've actually thoroughly enjoyed the growth, and look, the award is just a byproduct. We do want number 1 internationally, but that'll come in time when it's just growing. So no, we're stoked at the moment.
That's awesome, mate. And I've seen, obviously, known you for a long time and seen your business grow over the years. And it's certainly that you mentioned that word, happiness. It certainly seems to be a big part of your culture there in growing, very big business. Now, how many offices?
So we got 5 separate locations.
Yep.
And so 5 different businesses, including property management, all across north, south, east, and west of Brisbane City. So it's New Farm, Clayfield, Bulimba, and Toowong, and then we've got a property management division which is also housed in New Farm as well, with about 1,100 property management.
It's massive growth, Matty. Big growth over not really a huge period of time. What is it about your culture that's attractive?
Look, I think culture is a word that's thrown around way too flippantly. What we do, we spend a lot of time. So there's a couple of different things. So there's the administration side and there's the agency side as well. So what we can do is we can, from anyone that comes into the industry that wants to be a good performer, we've got the blueprint of what we can show them how to do it. So our methodology of how we train people is very different to a lot of other people. We used to say all the time, oh, that agent doesn't know how to do this. I've told them 1,000,000 times how to do it and they just don't listen and they won't do it. And it got to a point where we thought, okay, let's really, and Hazel and I have done a lot of, my business partner Hazel and I have done a lot of sort of training ourselves and upskilling ourselves, doing a few Harvard things and obviously going and studying a lot of different businesses. And what we found has been super effective for us is the way we teach and our methodology behind it is completely changed now. So what we do is we do it in 4 sort of stages. So we tell people what to do. We then show them how to do it. We then watch them do it, and then we review them in that whole process. And I think that's a really good pillar of how to actually absorb information rather than just telling someone how to do it. So I sell, Hazley manages, and so how our business sort of works, and one of the attraction points to the business is effectively the best analogy I can talk to about it is I'm the captain on the field.
Yep.
So I'll bring the team along. I'll coach. I'll show them what to do on the field, and I'll run 99 meters, and then the last meter I'll flick the ball and let them score the try. And what Hazley is he's the coach on the sideline, and it's a really good way to do it. So he does all the one-on-ones across the group. I do the quarterly one-on-ones with them. He does them monthly. And we business coach them. We forecast what they want to do, and then we reverse engineer their numbers and work out what they need to do to hit the targets they want to do. So it's not just here's your phone, here's your desk, here's your market, good luck, go and knock on doors.
Yep.
We actually have the blueprint to show them from start to go what they need to do to generate income to achieve what they want to achieve. So we spend a lot of time on doing that, the training side.
Do you think obviously with the partnership between yourself and Hazley, do you think your growth would have been possible without having a partnership?
Absolutely not. So look, there was a short while there. So Hazley, I used to work for Hazley, and then I bought the business from him back in 2011. Then I operated as the principal of the business and selling as well. And I did that for 7 years by myself. And it actually got to a point, I'll probably get a little bit vulnerable by saying this, but it got to a point that when I was heavily recruiting at the time, I was selling, I was focused on income coming in through the front door. But then because I got so busy, I started to miss meetings. I'd sell to agents, come and join me because I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to have one-on-ones with you. And then when I started to miss these meetings and I wasn't delivering on what I promised, it actually psychologically really, I went into a pretty dark place.
Yeah.
And I've got a great mate of mine and a mentor, Dane Atherton from Harcourt's Coastal. He's my neighbour down the coast, actually. And we're having a chat. And I told him about all the things that were happening and in the business and how my mindset was. And I was actually, if I got the right offer, I would have sold and been out of real estate on any given day.
How interesting.
And it got to a point where Dane said, mate, as an outsider, it's probably really hard for you to see, but I think you've only got a couple of options here. Either one, you stop selling and you manage the people. And I love selling. Like I get a kick out of it. I love the thrill of the chase. I love the deal. So that wasn't really an option for me. The second option was I keep selling and then sell the business, and or I just sell the whole lot, right? And just see what happens. And so I was faced with that reality of what do I actually do here? And I love selling. Oh, sorry, the other one was to get in a partner and I can continue selling, sorry. And so I didn't really want to sell because I love the business. I love the team. I love selling, so I wasn't not going to stop selling the actual real estate. And then I thought, let's see what we can do here with a partner. And I made it. And Hazley and I have been friends forever, 30 years. And we had a conversation. And fast forward, we went to the negotiation table about 6 times, and we ended up doing a deal. And now we've got this amazing relationship. We've got we're yin and yang. We're polar opposites from each other.
Yes.
He's got his skill sets, which I don't cross into his lane. I've got my skill sets. He doesn't cross into my lane, and it works beautifully.
That's awesome. Do you guys have? And I know you do have coaches because we've got the same coach that I actually was lucky to hear of through you. Do you guys have coaching for your partnership? No,
but we make sure that every year we do we go to either conferences together to make sure that we're, keeping abreast of everything. We do a lot of mentorships with other businesses. So Ray White's great in a way where they've got a chairman of elite businesses. So you go and you meet once a year or twice a year, and then you sort of talk through what's going on in other big people's businesses, which has been really beneficial for us. And then I've also got my own sort of mentors as well. So I've got Dane. I'm very fortunate. Dane's we literally share a fence, so we're over the fence talking every other day.
That's awesome. So important, mentors. It's been a huge, huge thing for me in my career, and mentors and just the right people around you. I had a phone call this morning. Just when you get off track, or you just to give you that sort of push along mentally, physically, spiritually. It's so important. Mate, can we just go back a step? Can you tell me the story of when you started in real estate? Because I remember it being a cool story in that it wasn't you didn't do that well initially.
Look, no, actually, it was. So I fell into I used to be an electrician, actually.
Yes, that's right.
And not a very good one. I just didn't really like it. And it was interesting that my moment, which made me realise that it wasn't what I wanted to do, and it's and I've got some mates that are in trades and have phenomenal businesses. It wasn't the trade. It just wasn't for me. Like I was very confused when I finished school what I wanted to do.
Yep.
And my family pushed me into a trade. I actually come from quite an intelligent family. My father's a surgeon. My mother was a detective with the juvenile aid. My sister's a teacher. My brother's a surgeon. And I don't know what happened to me. I think I was dropped at birth or something like that. But I'm not a studious type of person. I've got the street smarts though. I've got a bit of EQ, which is is important. I found school very difficult, and I didn't think that they tailored back then. I thought school was a bit unfair in a way because it was all of the pressure on, doing well. What university are you going to go to? What are you going to study? And they sort of have a focus on what you're going to do for the rest of your life at such a young age.
Yeah.
I was just so confused. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So anyway, I did a trade. I finished my trade and I absolutely hated it. I hated what I was doing. I wasn't passionate about it. There was one day I was in the lunchroom and it was just one smoko actually, and a gentleman walked in and he was about 60 years old. And he looked really down. And I just said, Pete, what's wrong? And he's like, I've just had an unforeseen bill come in and I was booked to go on a camping trip with my family for the holidays and I've had to cancel because I got an unforeseen phone bill. 60 years old to go camping. And I was like, do you know what? That is not me. That's not what I want to do. And so I ended up traveling overseas for a couple of years, did the old London thing. As you did the London thing as well, didn't you?
I certainly did, yep.
And anyway, when I was overseas, this was fate, how it all came together. I had a house that I bought when I was quite young and I ran out of money. And so I rang Hazley and I said, I was in Paris. I said, I need to sell this house. Can you please get it all sorted? And we picked this agent and the agent took it to market straight away. We had 200 groups through this property. It didn't sell. I was forced to come home to Brisbane because I ran out of money. I rang the agent and I said, look, I'm really desperate to sell this house. Can I have all of the phone numbers of the people that came through? You had 200 people come through and I made the calls myself and I managed to get 2 offers out of someone and we ended up selling it for higher than we got at auction and higher than our reserve at auction. Obviously, the agent got paid and I was like, geez, that wasn't that difficult. And anyway, I went back overseas and blew all of my money and came back. And Hazley, when I got back, Hazley's like, I've just bought this new business. I sort of... I think you'd be a really good salesperson. And I was like, I don't have any real estate experience except for doing the deal on my own house. And started with Ray White New Farm in 2006.
That's so awesome.
That was the start. But what was interesting, it took me 9 months to make my first sale. 9 months.
Yeah, I remember you telling us that story. So was there a vision for you to be where you are today, or has it sort of grown as you've gone along?
Look, I've always, going back to that lunchroom story, I always had an expectation of myself, 1, to always be happy, and 2, and I think financially, I always wanted to be like, I don't know, back in school, everyone used to say, oh, if you make 100 grand a year, I'll be happy as, you know? And so I think I grew into it a little bit, Jeff. I think at one point I was always happy with, you know, I just want to be able to not worry about phone bills, not worry about rent, not worry about all of these things. And then as I developed in real estate, I sort of, you know, I met people that were successful. I hung around people that were successful, and then my mindset completely changed. And I think maybe I undervalued myself a little bit. But it was interesting. It was probably 5 of the hardest years I've had when I started. Like my first year, I think I made $16,000 at that point of time. It was at a time when there was no legislation around paying minimum wage. It was all, if you make a sale, you get paid. Yeah. And literally, I remember I had to move home at 25 years old. I'd been out of home since 18. Yeah. And I ended up getting into $55,000 credit card debt.
That's very interesting. I actually had exactly the same scenario, actually. Very similar story, yes. And that sorts you out, doesn't it?
Well, it's what was really hard is living out of home and then moving back home at 25. Having $55,000 credit card, I think I got a credit card to cover a credit card debt that I had at one point. And I remember it. Look, when you're in that much debt, and you know, I know it can resonate with some people. It's really hard to get your mindset right when you're doing that. And it got to a point where I literally had to make a decision as to whether or not I stick to real estate or whether I go back and be a sparky so I can get rid of this $55,000 credit card debt. And there was a pivotal moment in my career, actually. I remember I rang my mum and dad and said, look, I need to borrow $1,000. And what's interesting is I did a podcast literally about 6 months ago, and I told this story. And it was the first time my parents actually knew the level of debt that I was in, because my mum listened to the podcast. And she had no idea because I was too embarrassed. I was embarrassed to tell my friends. I was embarrassed. I felt like a failure in what I was doing. I didn't understand it. And it got to a point where I rang mum and dad and said, can I borrow $1,000? And I bought a new suit and I bought a ticket to Sydney. And I met with a gentleman down in Sydney, and I stalked all the best agents in the country. And I finally got this meeting with this gentleman. And he was selling in Wallara area at the time with McGrath, and he was the leader of that area, of the eastern suburbs. And I got 15 minutes of his time. And that 15 minutes changed the whole landscape of my whole career. So I sat with him and he gave me 3 bits of advice, right? The first bit of advice he said was, if you want to be successful in real estate, you need to own the local publication. So he was in the Wentworth Courier. He had 20 pages before it got to any of his competitors. And he said, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. You need to become an attraction agent. That was number 1. Second thing he said was, you need to be an auction agent. You need to run a huge amount of auctions, and you can control your business, you can control your pipeline, control your stock. And that's been hugely successful for me. And the third thing he said was, and this is something that I think this word gets thrown out around a lot. The third thing he said was, you need to be a hard worker. And hard work, I think people get confused what's actually hard work and what's not hard work. And for me, what was hard work was not the hours in the office. The hours in the office I took that very seriously. I wanted to make sure that I was in the office first, opening it up and closing it at night. But I had an agent in our office at the point of time who was beating me significantly in figures, and I made it my number 1 goal was to beat him. And so he would sit in the office until 8 o'clock at night, and I wouldn't go home until I'd made 10 calls after he had left at 8 o'clock. And that was what I did, and I just chased. And
I love to hear that story, and it was actually. Excuse me, I love to hear that story. It was actually the answers to another question I had for you, mate, and it reminds me of an article. I do a lot of studying on success and mindset, and something I'm really passionate about, and there's a great article called The Common Denominator of Success. It's Common Denominator of Success. And the wash-up of it is just doing the things that others don't do.
Yep.
And it's discipline, and it's just going that extra mile. It's not rocket science, but it's just having that passion. And I was going to ask you as terms of, what do you think is one of those real key elements for you? And you've just answered that question. So thank you. We spoke before of motivating and how you create the culture, for a better word, with your sales agents. You've just won an award for the top operational, non-selling, for the non-selling area of your business, top award in the country. How do you motivate? Like, you're a very motivated person. You've got a big vision. You and Hazley have got a great dream. You're growing a big business. How do you motivate the people in your business that aren't agents? How do you get them to share the dream? I mean, agents, we're easily motivated because we just want to do heaps of deals, and being around good people and learning good systems is great. But for the business owners out there, how do you keep the dream alive for the non-selling people?
Right, it's a good question. So we've got a huge amount of administrators across our business as well, and there was we've got a team called the value team. That's what they're now called. So the V team, and it's a group of very talented male and females across our group. We run a centralised admin system. So with all of our real estate offices, we run the admin from New Farm. The value team was born out of a short while ago. This is probably about 5 or 6 years ago. We had an administrator say to us, "This agent has asked for this, and that's not my job." And I was like, "Oh, that's not your job. What is your job?" "Well, not that." And I said, "Oh, actually, we're now going to change your name to the value team. So your job is now to provide value to all of the agents." And what's happened is we effectively run KPI systems on customer service, which is to the agents. So we do surveys all of the time, and we do administrator of the month, administrator of the quarter, administrator of the year.
Awesome.
And it's actually so good. Like the value team, there's 8 in the value team, plus we run a rookie system as well. So we've got a rookie in every single business across the group as well, which basically which we put on social media to recruit for it. So we did a rookie program. So we put it on socials and said, we're looking for our next rookie. And the video around it was how I started, how Hazley started. You started from the bottom and work your way up through the company. And we had 70 applications for one rookie position.
Was that recently?
We've done it 4 or 5 times now.
Wow.
What happens is we're employing for one rookie, but what happens is the depth and the quality of the human that comes in through that wants that position to start in real estate, we end up employing 4 or 5 at any one time. And so the job of the rookie, right, comes into the business. Then if they're not recruited within 3 to 6 months into a sales associate role or into an administration role, then something's wrong.
Yeah.
And what happens is, so it's become this big thing that everyone tries to poach the rookie.
Yep.
And then the other thing with all the value team is everyone's got their own lane. We're very clear on the lanes that they run, whether it be marketing, contracts. Everyone's job description is very defined, and we monitor it by customer satisfaction. So we do all surveys with them as well. They all want to win the award of the administrator of the month and the quarter. They all want to win it. They're so hungry to do that. And the one thing that I think is, and it goes back to your original question about what keeps people, the culture and everything so great, is we love to greet people. People are greeted with ambition, right? And we like to harness their ambition rather than squashing people down and saying, no, you can't do that. Something for us which is really important, is we love seeing the rookie go to the front desk go into a value team, the value team into a PA role, the PA role into an associate into a top agent. And we've got one of our agents who's a $700,000 or $800,000 rider at the moment that started off as a leasing agent in property management, went to the front door reception, went to the value team, went into a sales associate, went into a PA role, then a sales associate. And it's amazing to see that their whole life is completely transformed.
That's so awesome, man. What a beautiful thing to watch, eh? Like, so I have to say I've had the greatest success in growing talent as well. Like, it's certainly the most rewarding, isn't it? Versus, hiring, big dogs that come with issues, which you just it's a little bit of a different game in our businesses, but I totally agree with you. It's the way to go, and just so satisfying, eh?
Well, what's really interesting is, and one of our biggest deficiencies, but it's probably our biggest strength as well, is we're very inward focused, our business. So we're the opposite to the bank, right? So banks will go and give an incoming customer a better rate than their existing customer they've had for 30 years.
Yeah.
We will not do a better deal for someone over anyone in our business. So we spend a lot of time on our training, on our events, on growth, on one-on-ones, and making sure that everyone that is in our Ray White family here is so looked after and we neglect the outside. It's
that's awesome.
And Hazel and I talk all the time. One of our biggest deficiencies is our recruitment. Because what we do is we focus so much internally rather than externally. And that's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Like, our retention is very good. And if anyone leaves the business for any reason, then we know that it's something that is outside of our control.
Yeah, totally. You've given it all you've got. And man, it's fantastic. It's a great sign of a very strong business is seeing that growth. Just getting back to what we're talking about in terms of growing agents, can I ask, just from a business owner's point of view, how often do you have one-on-ones how often do the leadership team, whether it's yourself or Hazley, have one-on-ones with your key agents?
One-on-ones are done every single month, so they're all scheduled. When you've got a business of our size, so we've got 65 agents across the group now. So it can be quite time consuming, but it's very designated set times on the month, every month. So Hazley will run those. We've also got Peter Camphon, who's a performance coach in the business as well. He contracts to us for 3 days a week. He was the Ray White Queensland CEO for 25 years.
Yes, so he now works with your business?
In our business as a performance coach, yeah.
He's a champion.
So, he's great, and people love him. I do the quarterlies, so Hazel does the monthlies. I do the quarterlies with people as well. But I will talk to our team. There's some people that I'll talk to 10 times a day. We're always walking around. We're always in and out of people's pods. We're always doing deals together. So and what's really interesting, one of the greatest things across our group now, being north, south, east, and west, having 65 agents, we monitor where all the deals come from, where all the buyers come from. And one of our biggest points with our team is we're now called the Collective Group, which we've just had the branding names for. And the greatest thing about it is 1 in 3 deals done across our group. 1 in 3 deals is a buyer is introduced from another agent to your property. And that is not only just a new farm to new farm, that's a new farm to Bulimba to Clayfield, Clayfield to Toowong. And so if a vendor comes to our group, they have got a 30% chance of another agent introducing a buyer to their property.
It's a big selling tool, isn't it?
It's huge. And what it does, though, is it keeps the team really connected. We're all about sharing. Everyone likes to share. Like, if you look at my listings online at the moment, I'm 50-50 on deals with a lot of agents. So I'll have 13 listings, and I'll have probably 7 or 8 different agents on listings with me at any one time. So
awesome.
So generally, I'm staying very connected to the team by doing deals and running our agencies with them.
And there's nothing like that sort of coaching, is there? Like, it's on the field, it's in the trenches, it's sort of, watch and follow me and do what I do. There's nothing better than that. That's a great point to have for up and coming agents. Mate, you spoke of before happiness, something that was very important for you in your earlier life that you wanted to have throughout your life. Very, very busy man, busy family life, busy agent life. Residential real estate's really a 6-day a week sort of business. Tell us about how you stay happy.
Right. Okay. So I spend a lot of time on this, mate, because I always look at it and I go, okay, what's the point of doing everything you do if you're not happy?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What is the point? And you know what? I love what I do. I love growth. I love deal. I love the chase. I love people. I love seeing people do really well. You know what? one of the hardest things being in resi real estate is it is 6 days a week, and it's non-stop. And look, I do have my issues with family with that as well. Like it's I've now 17 years on.
Yeah.
I've been able to do things that I haven't been able to do previously. And it's by choice. So I'll drop my kids to school every day without fail.
Oh, brilliant. What time do you do that?
I do the drop off at 8:15.
Oh, wow.
Every single morning. I train every day. For my own mental health, I love training. So I have a PT. So my normal day starts, I train every morning at 5:00.
Yep.
So I'm up at 4:50 every single morning.
Same here.
I try desperately every night to get 8 hours sleep. That is something that I've been really practicing and trying to perfect probably over the last year. I just find if I sleep for 8 hours a day, I'm a better human.
Yeah,
I just feel it. I don't know. I feel energized. Anything less than 6. I used to literally do 4 to 5 hours sleep every night.
Yeah.
And that just it's not sustainable.
No.
I train every morning. I've got a trainer 3 days a week. I now do a yoga session once a week, which has become my favorite session of the week. Just because I can I do a stretch, yoga. Mentally, it's really good. Obviously, all of those things are really good for me. And then I go to work. I drop the kids off every day without fail, and then I'm into it. So what's interesting is you keep saying busy. I hate the word busy. Busy sounds stressful, and I think stress is one of the biggest killers of people at the moment. And so for me, I may look busy from the outside.
Yes.
But what I tend to do is I only take on as much as I can service. I only take on as much as I can say to my clients, that I can contact them every single day. I talk to my clients twice a day, every day. And I've got to a point where I don't want to be the busy guy that looks like he's always doesn't have time for anyone, always trying to get everyone off the phone, always trying to look at my watch to go to meetings. I only do enough that I can actually have a stress-free as possible life, and not to the detriment of not being at home with my family. I'm at home now. I've chosen now that I don't do midweek open homes, so my team will do that. And I'm at home for dinner with the kids, generally at 6:00. I put them to bed, and then I'm back at the office. So I'll either be back at the office or working from home. And I do that a lot. But Saturdays is just the day I work, which is
that's it, isn't it? And you mentioned before, you were very grateful. Do you actively think about gratitude? Is it part of your sort of routine? Is it something that you sort of, focus on, or, as part of your sort of daily routine?
Absolutely, mate. It's, what? It's hard though. It's really hard.
Yes.
One of the hardest things that I find all of the time is, and I'm very tough on myself, and I probably shouldn't be as tough on myself as what I am, but when you sell, like I think I do quite well in life, and and I do the right thing by people. That's my number one thing. I never let a deal get in the way of a relationship, and particularly when you're dealing with people's most prized possession, which is their home. We tend to, a lot of emotion comes into play. I'm in a very tight-knit community in New Farm, and there is a lot of my friends are my clients, a lot of my friends are the buyers, and it can become quite stressful in certain situations. And so what I try to do is what I do is I never get confused of who my client is, right? So my job is to get the maximum value for my vendor, which I never get confused on doing. But what happens is, being in residential real estate and putting yourself out there, you're a huge target for tall poppy syndrome as well.
Say that again, mate. Sorry, that
you're a huge target for tall poppy.
Yeah.
And you know what? I really struggled last year. I actually went and saw someone for the first time. I've never seen anyone like a
Awesome.
psychologist, actually.
Awesome.
And what was interesting, because I was really struggling with people and people sort of coming at you and hating on you for when they don't even know you, just because you're a real estate agent. And it really affected me for a while. And it got to a point
like it would anyone, to be honest.
Well, what's interesting is like people don't know you, right? And because you're a real estate agent, they automatically hate you. And granted, because there is so much crap that goes on in real estate, so it's got such a tarnished name to it. And it sort of takes its toll. Like people would actually, not want to talk to you deliberately. They go to your open home and they try to dodge you and all of these things, and they don't actually know you. And I had people that would say things about me that actually don't even know me. And I really struggled with that. And it's like, I thought, geez, I've done my time. Why do I deserve that? And I got really down on the fact that I actually cared about it, and I cared what people thought, and I cared what people say. And that's probably just human instinct. But I went and saw this lady, and what she has taught me is gratitude.
Yes.
So, and now every single day I've got my little mantra that I do of all the things. And go back to having 4 children, right? When you've got 4 kids, mate, and you've got a nice, loving, tight family, who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
As long as I do everything humanly possible to know that I've done the right thing in every situation, I'm free, mate. I'm free.
Totally. For me, understanding the word gratitude, I really wanted to understand it for a long time, and I didn't really understand it. And I remember, like in recent years, I've really understood the power of it. And for me, I've got one gratitude statement that I write a lot and I say a lot, and there's nothing that can affect me when I'm really practicing gratitude. And I think for you to get to that point, like it's that feeling, isn't it, of, yes, like I'm just doing the best I can. I've got a beautiful family. Like it's just not really caring about what other people think. And it's hard. And it's you can only do what you can do.
Well, think about this, right? Imagine if you're the best human in the world, and I think about this all the time, and you are a great leader, a great human, a great family person, and you decide to run for politics to become the Prime Minister. Automatically, 51% of people are going to hate you, regardless.
Yeah.
It's about how you deal with it, and how if you genuinely feel like you've done everything right, you've treated people with respect, you respect everyone, and you do everything humanly possible to do the right thing, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, does it?
No.
It's a beautiful thing, man. Mate, what do you think would be your what's your best memory of your most teachable moment in your sort of career?
Wow, I haven't heard that one before. That's good. Look, one of the greatest things for me is I love progression. I love ambition, and we run an associate program in our business. So we've got 27 associates across our group. And so they go in under real estate agents. And one of the greatest things for me is I've got 2 associates, right? That were my first 2, Nick Given and Scott Darwin. And I remember it vividly on Scott Darwin's first day. He had a little Mazda something, a little red thing, that the door didn't even open on the driver's side door. So he had to climb out the window on the passenger side door. That was his first day of starting with me, and he's now my business partner at Bulimba, which is really special. And then I've got Nicholas Given, who started with me as well, who was my second associate. Over 10 years he's been alongside me, and now he's proud to say he's a partner in our Clayfield business with me. Wow. So they're really special learnings for me, and it's not that they've created what they've created, but I've just been able to share that journey with them and maybe taught them a little bit along the way. They've certainly taught me plenty, but it's been a really great journey to see people that have come on the ride and trusted myself, trusted the process, are now running their own businesses in partnership with us, which is really special.
That's awesome, man. That's beautiful. Congratulations, because it's a wonderful thing. Well done, and it's no surprises that you're growing. You've grown the business that you have with those sorts of things going on. How do you process losing a listing that you really wanted?
I'm competitive. I don't like it. I become a bit obsessive about it, and I try to work out all of the things of why I did lose it. And what I do is every listing that I list, every sale that I make, I sit down and I talk about it with the team, about things we did well, things we can improve on. Big listings, look, you cannot win them all. So I lost one literally probably about a year ago, and I got beaten to the listing by someone who had been in real estate literally for about 3 months. And would have been a repeat client of mine, and I rang up for the feedback and I said, look, I just really want to know, I'd love to know what happened. And they said, I feel like that other person wanted it more than you. And I've thought about that, and I thought about it a lot, and I'll tell you what, I will never lose a listing for not telling someone I want their business. It's what you learn from it.
Yes.
The most important thing.
Isn't it?
So I'm always about, look, and I get down all the time. Like, I lose listings all the time. Like, if you sit there, if you have someone that says that you're unbeatable and look, I win more than I lose, but I do lose.
Yeah.
And look, the best thing about real estate, and the thing I love the most about real estate, is it doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
Right? Anyone can do well because not one size doesn't fit all. Like, I could go in and I've had listings where I've walked in and I've said to the vendor, I don't think that this is going to work. Because what happens is you go into this relationship, you don't gel. It's all about relationships, right? And it's all about how you're going to work with that human. And I don't believe that you need to be best friends with your clients, but I think you need to have at least a bit of respect for each other potentially, and or you need to be able to work well and be able to communicate well with each other. And you know what? The thing about real estate is you could have me on one side who goes up against an agent who's got half the skill, half the energy, half the runs on the board, but they beat you because that vendor doesn't think that I'm the best suited person. So as much as it's a hard pill to swallow and you're competitive, you've just got to learn from all the things of why. And
100%.
And so I like to learn all the good things of things we've done positively, things we've done negatively, what we can improve on.
Yes.
But sometimes it takes me a while to come to grips. Like, I'll go home some nights and I don't talk about work with my wife very often. And I lost one the other week, and I literally went home and I went on about it, about how much. She's like, get over it. Go get another. You'll be fine, mate. You know. And but no, it's
always a lesson, isn't there?
Always a learning opportunity.
Always
Jeff.
a learning opportunity. Yes, that's it. No, it never gets easy, but it's like what you said before. It's just about how you deal with it in your own mind, isn't it? And
absolutely.
Mate, you're a competitive man, as we all are, and that's it's all about how you manage that. Is one thing I've found. Maddie, thank you very much for your time. We're almost at the hour. We don't even normally go this long, so some great discussion. Thank you so much again for your time. I don't know your family personally, but lots of love to your family because I feel like I know them. And mate, congratulations on everything you've done. You're an inspiration, and there's some just great stuff here that all of our listeners are going to enjoy. So big up to you, mate. Thank you very much.
And thank you for having me, and also on your business as well. Congratulations, mate. I always watch. I love watching your updates on Insta and all of those things. So, thanks, mate, for having me.
Thank you. My pleasure. All the best.